Welcome to the Brave Podcast. I'm your host, Connie Jacob, and I'm doing something new in 2024. Not only is this a podcast that you can listen to on Apple and Spotify, but some of you are watching me right now on my YouTube. Yes, I'm putting my face on my YouTube. This is where I do my podcast. This is my room. And welcome to my home. But I hope that you had an amazing holiday. And I'm just so excited to be able to be back with you and I wanted to come on screen because I wanted this to feel like a conversation. Now, for those of you who like to listen, I'm a podcast listener. I don't listen to things on YouTube very often, only because I like to go for walks or I listen to podcasts on drives. And so if that's you and you're listening, I'm just so glad that you're here, no matter how you're listening to this podcast. So, starting 2024, I want to ask you 10 questions that could actually change the game for you in 2024, no matter what. If you're a teacher, you're a parent, you're a leader, or you're just someone who has a dream. And a lot of you know that these are the people I love to work with: teachers, parents, leaders, and women who have a dream to make a difference. These 10 questions are, if you take a moment, if you actually take some time, and what I would encourage you to do is, if you're just listening to this and you just need to listen to it all the way through, like, go for it, listen to it. But when you get a chance, sit down with a piece of paper and be able to actually write it out or type it out on your computer, because these questions, if you actually take some time to answer them, they are going to give you clarity and focus for your year. How many of us go through the motions and we just keep in the same relationships or doing the same things? And then we look back at the past year and we're thinking to ourselves, how did I not move forward? How am I still with these people? How am I still in this toxic place? How am I still not seeing strides in my family or in my classroom? Like, why am I still here? And this is what I want to break you out of for 2024. I want to break you out of the thinking of that's just the way it is. This is just the way it is. Working with teachers, it's like, well, we have a lot of barriers, we have a lot of red tape. That's just the way it is. I want to break you out of that's just the way it is. And I want to bring you back to who you really are and what you really care about. And I've been doing this for myself. Anything that I do over my podcast or even in my own professional coaching career or working with educators or parents, I never do something with someone else that I'm not doing myself. And actually, I've got some big dreams for 2024 that have come out of me actually asking myself these questions. So I figured I got wrecked. I'm ready. Are you get ready to get wrecked? And what I mean by wrecked is, let's actually really align ourselves to what really matters to us, because life is too short. I don't know about you, but time goes by so quickly. The days can go slow, but the years go fast. And so these 10 questions are going to give you some clarity. So, on that note, are you ready? You ready to hear these questions? Okay, here we go. So, the first question is, we're going to look at your experiences. Now, you can choose to just look over the past last year, or you can look at your life as a whole. What I want you to do is bullet point some of the biggest pivotal moments of your life and what strengths or learnings came from those. What have been the defining moments of your life? We all have defining moments. We all have those moments in our lives where it's like, that moment changed me. When my dad passed away from cancer when I was 31, that moment changed me. There was a journey that I then took that wasn't great, that led me, that built strength inside of me, resilience and grit through hard things. The journey that we've had as a family. Many of you know our story, and if you don't, I've written a book about it called Bring Them Closer. There's a parent edition, there's a teacher edition. It was a hard moment, but it defined me and it moved me in a trajectory that actually has surprised me. And then, of course, there's good things in our lives that come about. Like, for me, having my children or getting married or being able to go into schools and really make an impact. Like, these things have positively impacted me. Starting our renovation company with my husband, and what we've been learning. Like, there's good pivotal moments. And so it's important to think about these as bullet points and not writing out a story, or else you'll never do it. It needs to feel unintimidating. The second question is, what obstacles have you faced and how did you overcome them? I think sometimes we forget that, yeah, we understand we faced obstacles, but we forget that we overcame them. And if we can actually write out how, that means that you can replicate that. The next time you're actually in a position where you're needing to overcome something again, you can remember, well, I did this before, and this is how I did it. Maybe that applies here too. Or you could help somebody with that. How did you overcome those obstacles? And maybe you didn't do it perfect. Guess what? Nobody overcomes obstacles perfect. And so that's okay. Like the goal isn't perfection, but how did you get through? That's question 2. Question 3, think about what you wanted just a few years ago that you have now. And it could be stuff, but if you've journeyed with me in this Brave podcast long enough, you know that I'm not about stuff. I'm about impact. What kind of impact did you want to make just a few years ago that you're actually making now? Or maybe that job that you wanted to have that you have now. What is that? And how did you make that happen? I know for myself, just a few years ago, I was dreaming of working with school boards. And now I work with one. I work with a school board out on the West Coast, and actually a very innovative school board. We're launching a program that could be replicated in all kinds of different school boards where we're really working towards sustainability. So I'm training principals and guidance counselors in how to work with students suffering with substance use. And then they're going to train their people, and I'm going to watch them train their people. And so it's the sustainable model. A couple of years ago, that was just an idea. A couple of years ago, that was just a dream. And now I get to do it. And I get to do it in relationship with people like Daniel Toe, who I have nothing but respect for. He is an innovative leader in a school system that normally probably wouldn't think very creatively, but there he is in this school system making a difference. You never know who you're going to meet. Who have you met? Who have you met in the last few years that have allowed you to move forward? Acknowledging that is important. Okay. So now question 4 is going into more questions around your expertise or your skills. So I want to ask you, what are you really good at? Or what skills have been developed through your experiences or through work? I know for me, the last couple of years, I had the beautiful honor of building a company with a group of people from the ground up. And I learned so much about business. And before, I mean, I've built my own companies, but they were dance companies and they were give back companies. But this company was, how do you actually create a movement, a global movement? And I learned so much. I learned that I love business. I learned that I love to help others and serve others. So for you, what are you really good at and what skills have developed? Question 5 is the same but different. What do you really enjoy doing, even if you don't think you're good at? These are things that you lose time over. These are things that you don't need to post on social media. You just get so much enjoyment out of this. This is something that delights your soul. Like, what are those things? I know for me, it really is home decor. I love home decor and I love dance. Those things just fuel me and they bring me to life. So, what are the things for you? Right. Question 6. Now, what do others tell you that you're good at, even if you don't believe them? Even if maybe you can't remember, but think about this for a moment. What do others tell you that you're good at? I know for myself, when I used to teach dance in schools, I used to teach mental health and resilience through hip hop, if you can believe that. And believe me, they go together. And I created a whole system around it where we would really see some incredible results. But one of the things that I didn't know about myself until someone said it was, Connie, you're very good at attuning to the students without words. Because when you teach dance, you're not using words, you're using movement. And it really clicked for me. And that's the moment that I started to actually work through attuning and how we attune in words. You've heard me talk about this on the podcast. And how do we attune out? And I started to really break down my process. Well, how come I'm good at attuning to students or to people? It's because I've learned to attune into myself first, and then I can attune to them. I didn't know that until somebody pointed it out. And so for you, what do others tell you that you're good at? All right. These questions 7 through 10 are all geared around what really matters to you because we want to make sure that 2024 is a year that you're living in what really matters to you. You might have the job that feels like you're digging through the trenches, but if you know what really matters to you, there's going to be something that starts inside of you. And so the first question is, if there was one thing that you could pass on to someone else, what would it be? A message or a skill or some advice? I know for me, that whole idea of you never send the hurting away from you, you bring them closer. That was a pivotal moment in my life that changed my life. And now I've invested an incredible amount of time and energy wanting to pass that on through books, through seminars, through speaking at conferences. That is something that I want to pass on. So what about you? What would you pass on if there was one thing that you could pass on? Number 8 is if this was your last year to live. Now, I know this is morbid, friends, but time is short. And I don't know about you, but I see friends that have had loved ones pass on, and it just reminds me of how sacred life really is and how much time I don't want to waste while I'm here on earth. And so, if this was your last year to live, what passion of yours has been sitting on the sidelines, sitting dormant, sitting on the bench that you would want to bring to life? What what would you do? What passion is sitting there inside of you, just hiding from the world? I know for myself and my husband, for years, we just did home improvement as just something that we did. But now we have launched our whole company. Why? Because we wanted to build another business? No, actually, not at all. We actually launched it because it's such a deep part of us. And we realized it was just sitting there as hidden potential, as untapped potential. And so for you, what's been just sitting there? Question 9. What do you want to leave as a legacy for others? Now, I know that you're not going anywhere probably this year. I'm not going anywhere this year, but it's never too early to think about the legacy that you want to leave. It's never too early to be thinking about the future where you're thinking, what do I want to pass on to others? When I'm gone, what's going to remain here? And that's why this bring them closer message means so much to me. It's a piece of my experience and all that I earned in the fire of life, passing that on. I want to teach people how to bring hurting people closer because people matter. You look around you, there's hurting people everywhere, people who need hope, people who are misunderstood, kids that are pushed to the side, students that are hiding in the corner, women that are hiding in the corner, shaking, wanting to know, do I have what it takes to live my dreams? I want to leave a legacy so that people know how to bring those people closer because they matter. What about you? What do you want to leave as a legacy? And the final question is, what difference have you always wanted to make? Whether you want to make a huge difference or just a small difference in your classroom or your home or your workplace every day, what difference have you always wanted to make? This is no time to sit down, be quiet. This is no time to hide. This is time to start getting intentional about some of these questions. And so, what I would recommend is if you've just listened to those questions, let them simmer, think about them a little bit. But what I would love for you to do is when you have a moment, sit down and write them out and start to journal them, even just one a day, and see what comes up. And what I would love for you to do is email me what came up. Because what I just took you through was the very first session that I walk the women who I work with in my inner circle who have a dream to make a difference. I walk them through these questions, and the ahas are amazing. Actually, I live for those ahas, those connections to, oh my goodness, I had no idea that was so important to me. I'm going to start putting that more as an intention into my living. I'm going to start moving in that direction more. It gives us clarity on where we actually want to be going, why things matter to us, and what we should be focusing on that really would allow us to feel like we're truly aligned to why we're here on earth. And so I wanted to start our year off like that. I wanted to start before you go to work, before we start the grind again. Let's get back to what really matters to us. These 10 questions, they could change your life. Sit down, work them out, email me, Connie@ConnieJacob.com. I would love to hear what you come up with. And in the meantime, friends, keep being brave.